Yo, what's up everybody? It's your name and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that gets me pumped money, but on a global scale. We're talking about the fastest growing economies in the world right now, as of November 2024. Forget what you think you know about the old guard because things are changing and fast. We're seeing some mind-blowing GDP growth in places you might not expect. I'm talking double-digit percentage increases, the kind of numbers that can transform a country in the blink of an eye. But it's not just about the numbers, right? We're going to break down why these economies are booming, what challenges they're facing, and what the future holds. We're going deep on inflation, the crazy world of international trade, and how new businesses are popping up left and right in these economic hotspots. Get ready to have your assumptions challenged because we're about to explore the forces reshaping the global economy, and I guarantee you some of these stories are going to blow your mind. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it. All right, let's jump right into the deep end. The global economy is anything but predictable, but one thing is crystal clear: emerging markets are absolutely crushing it. And when I say crushing it, I'm not exaggerating. We're seeing GDP growth rates that'll make your head spin. Take a look at this, 26.6%. That's not a typo, that's the actual projected GDP growth for one country in 2024. Now, I'm not going to spoil the surprise just yet and tell you which country it is. You'll have to stick around for that. But trust me, it's a game changer. Think about it. 26.6% growth means that this economy is basically multiplying before our very eyes. It's like witnessing compound interest in real time, but on a national scale. This is the kind of growth that can lift millions out of poverty, create a whole new generation of entrepreneurs, and completely reshape the global balance of power. And the craziest part, this isn't just a one-off. We're seeing similar trends across a whole bunch of emerging markets. These countries are hungry for success. They're embracing innovation, and they're attracting foreign investment like never before. For years, we've been told that the developed world, the US, Europe, Japan, they were the only game in town. But let me tell you, those assumptions are being shattered right before our eyes. The rise of these emerging markets is a testament to the power of human ingenuity, the relentless drive to improve, and the incredible potential that's unleashed when people are given the opportunity to succeed. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Graham, this all sounds great, but what's driving this incredible growth? What's the secret sauce? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into next, so stick around. Okay, so we've seen the numbers. We know emerging markets are on fire. But what's fueling this economic rocket ship? It's a perfect storm of factors, and frankly, some of them aren't pretty. First up, inflation. Prices are going up and it's putting a strain on everyone, but inflation cuts both ways. It can erode purchasing power, but also create opportunities for exporters. If your currency is weakening, your goods become cheaper for other countries. Suddenly, you're more competitive globally. It's basic economics, but it's playing out in a big way right now. Next, international trade. The old rules of globalization are being rewritten. Trade wars, shifting alliances, and regional trade blocs. It's enough to make your head spin. Amidst the chaos, emerging markets are adapting, forging new trade partnerships, and building up their own industries. They're not just playing the game, they're changing the rules. And finally, small and medium-sized businesses are the engine of any growing economy. These risk-takers and innovators are creating jobs and driving growth. In many emerging markets, there's a surge in entrepreneurship. Young people are starting their own companies. They're leveraging technology, connecting to global markets, and they're not afraid to hustle. Inflation, international trade, and a boom in entrepreneurship. These are the forces shaping the economic landscape. All right, so we've talked about the trends, we've looked at the driving forces, but what do the experts have to say? Well, the folks over at the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, they're the ones with their fingers on the pulse of the global economy. And let me tell you, their projections are eye-opening. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of economic jargon. We'll keep it real like we always do. But the bottom line is this. The IMF is predicting that emerging markets and developing economies will account for the lion's share of global growth in the coming years. We're talking about numbers that'll make your head spin. While advanced economies are projected to grow at a sluggish pace, emerging markets are expected to surge ahead. And it's not just the IMF saying this. We're seeing similar projections from the World Bank, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, all the big players. And here's the thing. These aren't just abstract numbers. This growth has real-world implications. It means more jobs, higher incomes, and a better standard of living for millions of people around the world. Now, I know what you're thinking, Graham. This all sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? And you're right to be skeptical. There are always challenges, especially when it comes to economics, but that's what we're going to dive into next. We'll take a look at the potential roadblocks, the risks that could derail this growth, and what it all means for you. So stick around because things are about to get interesting. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. While the future looks bright for many emerging markets, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are some serious challenges on the horizon, and understanding these risks is crucial if you want to make smart financial decisions. First up, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Inflation. I know, we've already talked about it, but it's a big deal, people. Runaway inflation can absolutely cripple an economy, and emerging markets are particularly vulnerable. Think about it. When prices skyrocket, it hits the poorest the hardest. It erodes their purchasing power, leads to social unrest, and can completely derail economic progress. And unfortunately, many emerging markets are grappling with this very issue right now. Next, we've got another wildcard, oil prices. Now, I don't need to tell you how volatile the oil market can be. 1 minute, prices are soaring. The next, they're crashing down. And for emerging markets that are heavily reliant on oil imports, this volatility can be a real headache. High oil prices can drain foreign currency reserves, fuel inflation, and put a damper on economic growth. It's a delicate balancing act and one that requires careful management. And finally, let's not forget about the ever-present risk of political instability. Sadly, many emerging markets have a history of political turmoil, corruption, and weak institutions, and this instability can create a lot of uncertainty for businesses and investors alike. When you're not sure if the government is going to change the rules overnight, it makes it pretty tough to plan for the future. Now, I'm not saying that all emerging markets are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. Far from it. But it's important to be aware of these challenges, to do your due diligence, and to understand that investing in emerging markets always comes with a certain level of risk. All right, so we've talked about the challenges, but now I want to shift gears and focus on a country that I think has the potential to overcome these obstacles and emerge as a true economic powerhouse, Libya. Now, I know what you're thinking. Libya? The country that's been plagued by conflict and instability for years? Yes, that Libya, but here's the thing. Libya has a few key advantages that I believe could propel it to the forefront of the global economy. First off, it's got location. Situated right on the Mediterranean coast, just a stone's throw from Europe, Libya is strategically positioned to become a major hub for trade and investment. It's like the gateway between Africa and Europe, and that's a valuable position to be in. Second, Libya is sitting on a sea of oil. And I'm not talking about just any oil. We're talking about some of the highest quality, lightest and easiest to refine crude in the world. And with renewed oil agreements and infrastructure improvements, Libya is poised to become a major player in the global energy market once again. But it's not just about the oil. Libya has a young and growing population, and with the right investments in education and infrastructure, they have the potential to create a dynamic and diversified economy. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Libya's path to prosperity will be easy. They've got a lot of work to do to overcome the legacy of conflict, rebuild their institutions, and create a stable and predictable business environment. But I'm an optimist at heart, and I believe that Libya has the potential to defy the odds and become a shining example of what's possible when a nation embraces peace, stability, and economic opportunity. So there you have it, a glimpse into the exciting world of the fastest growing economies in 2024. We've seen how emerging markets are rewriting the rules of the global economy, fueled by factors like inflation, shifting trade dynamics, and a surge in entrepreneurship. We've also explored the challenges these economies face, from persistent inflation and volatile oil prices to the ever-present risk of political instability. But despite these challenges, I remain optimistic about the future. The world is changing, and those who are willing to adapt, innovate, and embrace the opportunities that lie ahead will be the ones who reap the rewards. As we've seen with Libya, even countries facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles have the potential to rise from the ashes and achieve remarkable things. So stay informed, stay curious, and most importantly, stay invested in the future.